Today on the Golden Domers Report, we are going to be recapping the Oregon State Notre Dame Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl beatdown from the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, as well as taking a look at the college football playoff semifinals. We finally got the classic semifinal 4-team playoff that we were waiting for in its final year.
By Samaja, inside the 20, inside the 10, he's going in! Notre Dame has scored!
Go! You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal.
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, 5-5 rocket touchdown!
Notre Dame is number one.
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. We know that isn't going to be Notre Dame.
Happy New Year and hello everybody, I'm Landon Traylor, joined by Logan Traylor and Dylan Kearns. JR is out today, happy birthday to his daughter. So, with that being said, we ring in the new year with a dominating 40-8 victory over Oregon State in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, putting Notre Dame at 10-3 on the 2023 campaign. It's back-to-back bowl wins for the Fighting Irish as Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame able to win the Gator Bowl last year and, of course, this year's Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. While it isn't what we want to win these, I hate to say low-end bowl games, but maybe that's not the right word, these lower bowl games. How about that? It's important to get to 10 wins in your second year, and it's important to win a game like that heading into your next season, Logan.
Yes, agreed. Obviously, you know how I feel about the win. Was very excited to not only win, but to get to 10 wins. I thought that was big, given the circumstances of what had happened this year. It was good to see a lot of our young guys perform. I thought Jaden Thomas really stood out to me, having a really good game. I thought I was actually surprised that our offensive line did as good as they did. Obviously, still some struggles there, but it was good to see. It was good to see Steve have a good game, well deserved. You could tell that our guys were prepared, but it's not the end all be all just because you played a depleted Oregon State team. There's that, but. Overall, was very impressed. Liked what I saw. Big news after the game where Xavier Watts coming back. So a lot of good momentum heading into next year for sure.
Absolutely. And as Dylan said on that 29th, that Friday, he's not overexcited about a Sun Bowl win over Oregon State. I don't think any of us are overexcited. I think what we mean is that was a good win for momentum builder into 2024, especially with how the season played out this year. To win like that, we lost a lot too in the bowl game. I mean, we didn't have our starting quarterback. We missed some receivers or a running back. So, Dylan, I get what you're saying. Go ahead and just kind of touch up on that statement if you want to.
I think there's two ways to take this. The first way, if you're an Irish fan week by week and you want to see him win, yay, woo, Tony Tiger. We're playing on a bowl game on a Friday at 2. No one in the world is watching your football game, okay? And you get to that game by not losing to sorry-ass football teams, and that's what they've done this year. So I'm not going to sit here and suck my thumb and drink my coffee because I'm so excited that Notre Dame football finally won a bowl game by big margin. These are Nunya Bowls. These are bowls that JR would be heated about right now. These are, we went in there and we really double stuffed that beaver. And they took care of business. Now, I am mad. I'm actually mad thinking about this. It makes me more mad about how big they won. Because it showcased how much potential this team had. And they just right down their leg all season long. So am I excited about the future? Yes. Was it a big win in terms of that and building something there? Yes, because like I said, if you lose that game, it's a long offseason and probably the hardest one in Notre Dame football history. You got an athletic director change. You have an easy schedule coming up. You lose a lot of you lose a lot of players there. It's going to be tough trying to get back to where you once were. So it was good to pull out a win like that. Good to see some players returning and playing hard for Coach Freeman. At the end of the day, who cares?
Absolutely. You know, I agree to a certain extent there. Stephen Jelly was 15 of 19 for 232 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hey, Stephen Jelly, he balled out. He was throwing dimes out there. We're talking right in the bucket, throws on the run. It's going to be interesting this spring. Obviously, it's going to be Riley Leonard to start. I mean, I don't know how you cannot start Riley Leonard, but I think Steven Jelly, Minchie, and Carr, they're going to give him a little ride for their money. It's not going to be a cakewalk this spring for Riley Leonard. Jadarian Price, the running back filling in for Audric Estime as the number 1 running back, I should say. He had 13 carries with 106 yards and a touchdown. And Jordan Faison, 5 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. The defense allowed just 2 yards rushing. 2. And they had negative yardage up until that last drive that Oregon State put together when they scored a touchdown. Josiah Irish, he had 56 reception yards. That was their leading receiver with 56 reception yards. They averaged 0.1 rushing yards all game. It was all out domination as Notre Dame gets to 10 wins. And like we said, if we lost that game, the offseason is not good. You're going to have a depleted team, a coach who really doesn't have the fan base anymore if we lost that game, and you're going to have a lot of messed up, mad fans. So to win that game the way we did, I think it's important to win the game like we did to give us a little confidence booster into 2024. I think there's a brightness starting to appear, especially with Xavier Watts announcing that he's going to be coming back. We have a new offensive coordinator in Mike Denbrock, who led the Heisman Trophy winner, which should have an asterisk next to it. It should be Michael Penix, and I think the Heisman should be announced after the season anyway. Nonetheless, he still led a fantastic offense at LSU this season. And then others returning and transfers incoming, And, Logan, you got to keep Al Golden at all costs. That is what scares me, especially with how bad some of these NFL teams are. Why not take a chance on a guy like Al Golden?
I think for Notre Dame and Marcus, you've done a really good job in the portal. You went out and got a really good strength coach. You went out and got Mike Denbrock. You went out and got a reputable wide receiver coach. Your first priority now moving forward is making sure that, there is a contract on the table for Al Golden that, takes care of him and, keeps him as DC at Notre Dame. I think that's our first priority moving forward, because if you keep him and you have Denbrock at OC and Golden at DC, I don't remember, the last time we had a staff, a complete staff like that. I think that would make our staff easily a top 5 staff in the country if that's the case. So it's very important. Everything's saying, the university's working on a contract. You can tell that the university has supported Marcus through this offseason, getting the transfers, getting, Denbrock, getting the strength. They're willing to spend money. So I'm not too worried about it. So if Notre Dame, is willing to, open the checkbook, I think, our football program will be in a really good spot going into next year.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. The last time Notre Dame really had that powerful staff, I would say, is 2018 with Clark Lee as our defensive coordinator and Chip Long as our offensive coordinator. They were firing on all cylinders that year, as you know. Dylan, go ahead.
You look in the NFL as well. It's hard to lose, or it's hard to keep coordinators. And coordinators are such a big they're the engine that rolls. Obviously the coach is the one that gets everything going, but they put the best pieces on the field and make They maximize talent. You look in the NFL, the reason the Patriots are so damn successful was because
And a quarterback.
they kept Josh McDaniel, their OC. The OC was the same under Brady their whole tenure. I know. Yeah. But I mean, he did that. They lost their DC a couple times, and then Patricia finally left, and then they started to get bad. But not only that, the Chiefs, they go ahead and they lose Bieniemy, and now they're a mess this year. I mean, it's so hard. The Eagles lose their DC, they're a mess. Their OC, they're a mess. Both of them are playing good right now. So it's hard to lose coordinators. So to your point, I really hope that they pay up and keep Golden here, because he was a big factor into the somewhat success that the program had this year.
Absolutely, he was. And, the thing that's really holding me that I think we will keep Al Golden is his head coaching resume. He's a fantastic coordinator. I think one of the best in the country, especially after he turned around that defense from last season to this year, the adjustments he made. He kind of looked at himself in the mirror. You look at what he did at Temple. He succeeded at Temple a little bit. And then you look at what he did at Miami. It was not good at all. The Miami experience was a flop, and he has not been back in a head coaching experience since he got fired from Miami in late 2012. So he has been a fantastic coordinator. There's some guys who just fit the coordinator role, but just are absolutely not meant for the head coaching job. What was the Las Vegas Raiders guy? He just got canned.
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels. He is not a good head coach. He is not a good head coach at all. But you look at what he's done from a coordinator standpoint, one of the top. You can't think about that Patriots dynasty without thinking of Josh McDaniels. So it'll be interesting to see what moves we make with Al Golden. I really, really hope something is announced soon, because I want to head into the offseason kicking it. Like I want a staff. I want a staff assembled. I don't want to wait around like, is he teetering? No, sign the contract or draw up a contract, blank check him. Let's go. So a Gator Bowl win and a Sun Bowl win for Marcus Freeman in the back-to-back seasons. Meanwhile, Michigan is playing for a national title. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, that kind of makes them the better program in the last 10 years. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but I really wish Notre Dame and Michigan played every year so we could see who the better program is. But with college football moving the way that it is, I don't think there's room on any of our schedules, especially with the way the Big Ten is and Michigan being in the Big Ten. I mean, they're going to be playing a Big Ten team just about every week. I don't know their non-conference schedule, but it can't be many games. I know they play Texas next year, though. So, it is what it is. I really hope we get to that next level. Just winning Gator Bowls and Sun Bowls. Meanwhile, Michigan's in their third straight college football playoff, and they're about to play for a national championship. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But hey, speaking of Michigan, what a game. What a Rose Bowl. What a Sugar Bowl. What a playoff. It's the final year of the college football playoff, the four-team system. And the very first college football playoff national championship was Big Ten versus Pac-12. It is now Big Ten versus Pac-12. Future Big Ten. But anyway, so Michigan wins 27-20 over Alabama in overtime. And then, of course, Washington wins over Texas in a wild, wild way, 34-28. I want to talk about the last play of the game for Alabama and Michigan. So it's 27-20. It's 4th and goal from about the 3-yard line, I think, for Alabama. Timeout Michigan, timeout Alabama. After 2 timeouts, they still could not get the play right. And I've watched this a couple times this morning and, of course, last night. It seems that on that last play, it was a QB draw, of course. The snap to Milroe, the right guard shifts over to the left. He was supposed to trap that linebacker for Michigan. And instead, he ran right past him. I think he thought Jaden Milroe was right behind him and ran right past the linebacker, allowing the linebacker to come through that gap and get Milroe right there, because Milroe was supposed to cut left with that line, with that right guard. The right guard was supposed to be that lead blocker for him, and instead of trapping, he ran right by him, and that linebacker got right through to tackle Milroe. Man, Tommy Rees. It's almost like we've seen that before, Logan.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, don't know if you guys saw Nick's press conference, but there was three plays that were called in that sequence with the 2 timeouts, and then in that play, you just don't execute it right. I thought overall Tommy figured it out the second half. Thought he put together some really good drives. Michigan was just better. Michigan, I think, deserved to win that game. They dominated the line of scrimmage on both.
Absolutely.
And that's where, it's kind of like the most physical team usually wins most 9 out of 10 times. So we'll see where they're at. That was a hell of a game, though. Two really good games. And, congrats to Bama on a good year. I thought they really put it together. Could have folded after losing to Texas. And congrats to Michigan.
Absolutely. Dylan, great Rose Bowl. We'll talk on the Sugar Bowl in a second, but what a Rose Bowl to close out the college football playoff 4-team setup there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And I had someone text me. They're like, hey, what are your thoughts on the football games today? And I said, amazing football. And that's simply it. You had an overtime game. You had a last-second play to see who wins. It was just beautiful. I mean, the committee definitely got it right. I thought they did the whole time. I was never against them. But that was a heck of a football game. I mean, maybe you could make the case for Georgia, but that's either here nor there. Two little spots, too many good teams. Let's leave it at that. But looking at it as a whole, I mean, could you imagine if that Jagaloon who caught the ball in the 1 and fumbled, if he would have freaking would have been writing another script if he fell right into that damn end zone.
That would have been 22-20. I thought it was close. I thought it should have at least warranted a review. I mean, they didn't even look at that crap. That was I think he was down to the half-yard line. They got it right, but for them not to review it is like, really? Like, you can't even take a look at that? It's a game-changing play. You take a look at everything except that. All right. Anyway, in the Sugar Bowl, Washington defeats Texas. Oh, my goodness. What a ball game. You thought even Sean McDonough, McElroy, they were all saying in the fourth quarter with 1:06 left, and it's going to be Michigan and Washington moving along to the national championship game. Hold the phone. We have an injury for Washington. Texas gets the ball back with 50 seconds. Sark dials up some fantastic play calls. Texas executes them perfectly. They get downfield. They put themselves in a position to win, and they run a fade route on the last play of the game that was defended perfectly. It was predictable. We knew what was going to happen. They didn't work the left side of the field at all on that last set of downs. They all ran right. They also ran a screen, which I thought was weird. They lost a yard on a screen pass. I don't know if you guys caught that. I think it was on the second down actually, because he threw it out of bounds with 1 second left. But he ran a screen and it went out of bounds. So interesting play call. It was very predictable though for Texas on that last play. I'd like to see him get more creative on that last play, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, right?
Absolutely, right. Well, yeah.
And try to get to your best wide receiver. Washington made a play. I thought it was a really good game as well. It was very interesting in both games. Special teams, it shows how important, special teams are, whether, it's receiving punts, whether it's field position. I think that sometimes can get undervalued and overlooked, but, it's crazy how big of an impact that can have on a game. And obviously, we know with the Clemson game. But really, really good game. I like that game a lot better than the Bama game. We're kind of sitting around. Boredom had struck there at some point in the Michigan-Bama game, and I'd like to see a high-powered offenses go at it and Penix is unbelievable. Ewers or whatever you say is, really good as well. So, Sark's story, big fan of him, big fan of, what he had to go through to get where he is today. Texas will be right back there, next
Ewers
year.
coming back. He has another year of eligibility. I think he may come back. Depends on the whole Arch Manning stuff. But Texas, I think, is around to stay. It'll be interesting to see them run through the SEC, though. They also have to play Michigan next year. They have one of the toughest schedules in the country next year, no doubt about it. Dylan, the Sugar Bowl.
There's a lot of sugar.
Yeah,
That was
there was.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was woo. Pack your lunch. How about that? I mean, it was one of those games where late in the game, you're thinking. I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, if they give up a score, I'm gonna pop on the old Xbox and just relax. But I'm like, oh, watch one more Texas drive. What do? They go down, make it 28. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then it was chaos that kind of broke loose there. They found a way to come back into the game. They got down to the last play, and that was what a catch by not only the running back on the little wheel route, but also the one before that where the dude hit him in the middle of the field. That was a beautiful throw and catch. He got out of bounds, set him up perfectly. I didn't like the play call on where they just chucked it to the running back and he wasted 5 seconds to get out of bounds, and then he threw it over his head with a second left. That was just too bad because I mean they were two bad plays right there. Take end zone shots with 20 seconds. That's what you got to do. But phenomenal year for Texas. They are indeed back. And looking at Washington, this is I texted in a group chat yesterday. I said, look, sure, Michigan can be a team that goes undefeated to end the year. But what about Washington? Kind of had a note, like they're a solid program. They're could they be a 1-year wonder in terms of this story? I think they are. So definitely something to watch out for. Someone will end the year undefeated, which is kind of cool.
And that bridges us into number 1 versus number 2. It's elite defense in Michigan, and Michigan has a high-powered offense at times as well against an absolute elite offense. So the college football playoff national championship, number 1 Michigan, number 2 Washington, January 8th, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. JR is rolling with Washington. He currently leads the picks. He is 301 and 86. And unfortunately for Logan, that means JR has clinched because Logan had an abysmal bowl week. He is now 282 and 100. I myself am far back there. I think I'm at like 273. I did win the bowl game picks though. I was 18 and 16 in the bowls. Logan and JR went 17 and 17. JR is rolling with Washington in the national championship. Logan, who you rolling with? Number 1, number 2.
I pray for a good game, which
we're gonna get.
I hope we see.
We'll get it.
Last night, after watching Washington go to bed at 2 a.m, thank you to ESPN. Really appreciate that. I was going to pick Washington to beat the Walmart Wolverines. However, we have the Costco Wolverines. And, they're coming in bulk. And they will beat the Washington Huskies by 14.
If you're gonna compare Walmart and Costco, it'd be Sam's Club, just for the record.
Yeah, that's true. They are both affiliated.
That's their affiliate. If you're gonna insult them right. Ellen, number 1 versus number 2. Who you rolling with?
Go blue. Michi by a milli. We doing final score predictions?
I was going to, but Logan said by 14. What's your score?
Let's just redo this segment.
Pierre, Michigan, 27. The Huskies, 21.
Man. All right. Logan, what's your final score? I know you said 14, but go ahead.
Yeah, I have. Jeez.
Now he has to do math.
28.
14.
That would be it. There we go.
Yeah.
You found it.
Yeah, he got it. I am rolling with. I said it a few weeks ago, way before. I think actually I said this when they beat Penn State this year. Michigan is going to win the national championship, beating Washington 34-31. It's going to be a classic, I think. It's going to be grit. It's going to be just absolutely power on power. This is it. 14-0, 14-0. Number one, number two. The two best teams in the country in the national championship, BCS style, mind you. Michigan wins at 34-31 to win their first national championship since 97. Will win the national championship. It'll be there until it gets vacated because of the Connor Stallions whole thing. And then I think Jimmy Harbaugh is off to not the Bears because that guy saved his job. But I think Jimmy Harbaugh will be in the NFL next year. All right, go ahead.
I want to say one thing before you wrap up. Bold take, Jim Harbaugh is banned from college football.
Think it's that serious?
Me? Yes.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's one of the biggest cheating scandals of the 21st century. I mean, it is awful what they have been able to get away with for so long. So with that being said, we are back next week at some point to wrap up the college football season and, of course, Notre Dame season. This is a Notre Dame football podcast, so we will recap the entire season as well as take a look ahead into 2024, talk some recruiting, and, of course, talk about the national championship. And that will be it for us next week as far as weekly shows go. But we are going to be doing a once-a-month show just to check in with everybody and make sure we're all doing good, make sure Dylan's doing good in Dublin, Ohio.
Dylan's cute little face.
Yeah. So with that being said, we hope you all had a wonderful New Year's. We will see you next week. Go Irish.
By Samauza, inside the 20, inside the 10, he's going in! Notre Dame has scored!
Go!
You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal.
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, by rocket touchdown!
Notre Dame is number one.
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. We know that isn't going to be Notre Dame.